Hi, welcome to Mount Edgecombe. My name is Jez, and today I'm going to run through some putting basics with you. We're going to kick off with chucking a fir cone in towards the basket. The actual way to throw something into that basket is by using a nice straight line technique from low to high to let go of the cone to send it straight at the basket. I wouldn't choose a more rotational throw for such a gentle throw. Accuracy is more important than power in this circumstance. And exactly the same happens when you're holding your disc. I'm going to use a low to high technique, straight line to the basket. To help the disc on its way, I'm going to use my body to maximum effect. I want to have minimal power with the arm and maximum power with the body. So I can use an arabesque shape in my body to help the disc on its journey towards the basket. So if you have a look here, see how the arabesque, that left leg kicking back and the chest extending up towards the basket, helps the disc on its way in a nice straight line towards the basket. A fairly simple hold on the disc with your thumb on the top. You can see I'm pushing the disc into my palm here and my fingers are splayed underneath the disc. I like to have my trigger finger just resting gently on the bead here so it leaves the hand and just there's no sort of catching of the disc, it's just a nice little easy release. So the tips again, we're going from low to high in a nice straight line with the basket, and we're using the arabesque to send the disc upon its way. Occasionally your disc will land in a place where you can't use an arabesque putt. With the tree in the way, I haven't got room to make my normal putting style, so I'm going to have to use a slightly different style here, and I'm going to use a straddle putt. It's where your feet are face on with the basket and we're going from the body out towards the basket. It's really important we use our legs to maximum effect here, and we need a nice upward to power the disc towards the basket. So feet are straddled on towards the basket. I go from between my legs, another low to high movement in a nice straight line towards the basket, and body to send the disc in the right direction. So coming in on this elevated basket, I think I'm going to use a turbo putt. A turbo putt will mean that the disc is coming into the basket on a nice flat trajectory. Not really wanting to, especially if I've got a breeze against me, throw upwards like that and the wind catch the disc and blow it back to me. So I'm going to use this turbo putt and I'll explain how it goes. The disc sits on your thumb like so, and your fingers are on the outside of the disc. As the disc leaves my hand, I'm trying to make sure the disc stays lovely and flat, so I don't want any tilts to it, and I use my fingers as I let go of the disc to spin the disc towards the basket. Also very useful if you've got to go over limbs of branches and bushes and stuff that you can't get around, you're forced into using the turbo putt. It's a really good one to practice. Let's have a go from here. So we're about 13 paces away from the basket on the outer limits of a putting stroke for me. So I really need to use the ground and really use my arabesque to send that disc towards the basket. Here we go, let's have a go. Well, that was pretty close. I'm quite pleased with that. If I used a rotational turning shot, that would probably send the disc far too far, and I could leave myself, 10-15 yards behind the basket. So I don't really want to be missing the basket by miles from here. I want to be getting it nice and close. Now, there's a technique that quite a few lots of the good players will use. They'll lift this front heel up and sit their weight onto their back leg, so then they can really rise up and send that disc towards a basket. So the toes lift up, the weight sits onto the back leg as the arm drops, and then as you extend towards the basket, the leg kicks up, the arm reaches out, and then you can get some good power towards the basket and hopefully keep it on a nice straight line towards the basket. A good tip on long distance putting is to try and visualize the flight that the disc is going to take once it leaves your hand and how it's going to fly into the basket. So I'm looking for this disc and seeing the flight. It's going to rise up higher than the basket level and hit the chains. And because it's going to hyzer slightly, moving slightly from the right to the left, I want to see that flight before I take my shot. So what you'll see a lot of guys doing is just doing their little warm-ups. So they're focused on the basket, they're focused on the flight of how the disc is going to fly towards the basket, and they'll be rehearsing that and seeing it in their mind's eye, so when they go for the putt they've got the best possible chance of getting it in. I'm going to have a second attempt at this basket, see if I can land this one. Again, not a bad effort, left myself an easy tap-in putt, so I just need a little bit more practice, and I think I'm going to start counting this shot.